Welcome to the GLS podcast, episode 4, with Marv, your favorite host in the world. It has been a while since I have been here with you guys, but I'm going to give you a special episode today, and I'm going to explain it to you at the end. So without further ado, let's get started. What do you like in your life? That's one of the key questions. What do I like? If I was to think about it, I would definitely say that I like playing sports. I like feeling active. That's one of the things I really enjoy, and I feel great pleasure when I do it. I would say that specifically the reason is because we live inside the moment when we do sports. If we're playing football, running with the ball, trying to score, if we're passing it around, we're actually scoring goals. I feel like everything is happening in that direct moment. You don't have time to think about the future, and if you do, it's the very distant future, like the end of the game. You don't think about the past when you're playing, you're just doing. And I think living in the present moment is such a key point for our enjoyment in life. I think sports is one thing, playing games, because I think it's more of a relaxing activity where you just kind of have fun, maybe play with your friends depending on what type of game that it is. Also love eating food. When I go out for a good burger, that's one of my favorite feelings. You eat the burger, the fries, the drink. It may be unhealthy, but I love the feeling attached to that. So maybe that is a different type of enjoyment about what you like. It's the kind of pleasure centers of the brain that maybe it accesses. That's a huge possibility. When considering what we don't like, that's something very interesting as well. I don't like waiting. The first thing off the top of my head is waiting. Either in a line, in a queue for someone to come out, something like that. I've never enjoyed that since my childhood. And I'm not sure why, really. I always feel like time is very valuable. You book something for a time. For example, I arrive to my lessons on time, well, give or take 1 or 2 minutes or sometimes, but I always arrive on time for my lesson because I feel it's disrespectful if I'm late for the lesson. Whenever you go to the hospital, you go to an appointment, why is it that you're always seen late? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Recently I queued up for vaccination and we were waiting for 2.5 hours. I always feel like if you have a time booked, it should be commencing in that time. If we're talking about things that I do not like, that's definitely one of the highest on the list. We can also talk about selfishness, a personality trait, when you don't get the equal performance, you don't get an equal friendship or relationship where maybe you're the one that is doing everything, or maybe the other person is giving more and you're not giving a lot. That imbalance can be very frustrating. The most common thing is when you do something for someone and they don't reciprocate those things for you. I had a close friend like that, and I would always arrive when he wanted me to. I would always be there. And when you ask for one thing back, it doesn't always happen. This is probably a common situation for people in life, but for me, I would consider that to be one of the biggest problems. But what brings you true joy? If I'm thinking about that for myself, what brings myself true joy? Again, living in the moment is one of those things. I used to think it was all about winning. It still is important for me, but when you win, you feel good, but it doesn't last. So true joy, I think, is the happiness of doing something in the present moment. As I said previously, we do it, we feel that excitement because we're there, we're alive. It might be something that makes us feel truly alive. And these kind of things we really need in our life, right? We have to live life. We've got to enjoy the things. A lot of the time we're thinking about what we're going to do tomorrow or what we are going to do on the weekend, at the weekend. We don't always think about what we're going to do now. And I think that is a big problem with modern society. We talk about that, what brings us sadness. We're talking about sadness. I always say, I don't like to see people I care about upset. I don't like to see people suffering. In general, I don't like to see that. Even for people that I don't like, I will not look further into it, just move on. And, how can we bring happiness instead of sadness? Well, that's another thing. What do we do to live our lives? We've got to design our life with the things that we love in it. We're taught at school at an early age not to do that. We're taught to be part of society, get a job, get a profession. And it's ironic me saying that because I'm a teacher, but I really love teaching, and it took me a long time to get there. It's really tough when you think about that, because you've got to place the things you enjoy in your life one by one. Obviously, we are going to dislike some things, but when we design our life around the things that bring us joy and happiness, I feel that if we really enjoy our job, especially, that's 60% of your life already. And if you're happy in your job, you just got to take care of the other things, like your relationship, your finances, all those other things. I would say I'm pretty happy in those positions right now. Everything could be better, but I'm very happy with where I am. And it comes from life design. So how can we make life fun? And that's exactly it. There needs to be something we enjoy doing every day. It cannot only be about work. Whilst working and elite dedication is very important, it cannot only be about work. It has to be about what soothes the soul and nurtures the mind. I think this is very important. This has been a very short episode. I hope you enjoyed it. This episode was designed to show you how monologuing works. Now, I just did a 5-minute monologue. Now, in the IELTS exam, the CAE exam, the CPE exam, the FCE, all of those exams, there are monologues, either looking at pictures or giving you a question. Now, one tip how you can deal with monologuing is write down questions, as I have done. I wrote the following questions. What do you like? What don't you like? What brings you true joy? What brings you sadness? How can we bring happiness instead of sadness? How can we make life fun? Those were the only questions I wrote down, and I just let it go. And whilst you cannot do that during the exam, it is an ideal way to practice monologuing. It is the one skill we don't practice often in our everyday life. We normally talk to another person, so the interview is common, the back and forth conversation is common, but the monologuing is less so. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I hope this helps you with your monologuing needs and IELTS and everything like that. If you wish to hire me, the link is in the description, how you can hire me as your teacher. I use iTalking. And I wish you all the best with your English and other language studies. Take care, guys.